Hello, I'm Anna Haine. I am the Head of Health and Social Care at Putteridge High School in Luton. This year I've been completing a PLG project on engagement in lessons, and you're now about to see my presentation with my findings. I hope you enjoy it.
Hello, today I'm going to talk to you about engaging learners using the question our group asked. Do hands-on activities engage students in learning using the hands-on, minds-on approach? Tell me and I'll forget. Show me and I may remember, but involve me and I'll understand. Benjamin Franklin or a Chinese proverb? Whoever it was gave a good basis for the investigation of engagement in lessons and trying to prove that practical engagement moves students away from being passive in lessons and involves them in their own learning. We all had different ways of approaching this, so I'm going to share my experience. During our first group meetings, we had to decide what engagement was. We came up with the concept that you had to draw someone in to engage them and then get them to commit to their learning and then get them interested in what they were learning. As a group, we decided that the key to engagement was participation, involvement, and arresting attention. If they did this, then they would invest in their own learning. As I teach more than one subject, I decided to focus on health and social care for this project. Firstly, I looked at the syllabus and identified areas where the student engagement could improve. Secondly, I had to consider what tasks already engage learners. Mostly I found that this was practical tasks. Next, I thought about what I was going to do, and again, I thought that practical tasks were the way to go. Finally, I decided what I was going to do and how I was going to do it. More about that later. There is a lot of information out there about engagement. As a group, we looked at the theory of behavioural, emotional and cognitive engagement by Fredericks, Bloomfield and Paris. A quick summary of this is behavioural engagement refers to the student's participation and involvement in school activities, which could be academic, social or extracurricular. Cognitive engagement is related to thoughtfulness, investment and willingness to put in effort. And emotional engagement comprises of affective emotional reactions such as interest, boredom, happiness and sadness. However, I then started to look at a text which solely focused on being in the classroom and how I can engage my students. The book Engaging Learners by Andy Griffiths and Mark Burns looks at why students might not be engaged and how this may impact learning of all students. The first concept they look at is flow, so it made sense that I should also do this. Flow can be described as being involved in an activity for its own sake. Every action, movement and thought follows inevitably from a previous one. High challenge and high skill level induces flow. If there is no flow, then boredom and apathy happen and students won't become involved or take responsibility for their learning. Griffiths and Burns suggest that to get students involved, they should begin doing a variety of activities to get their brains working that could also be fun and different. This will immerse students in their learning, getting them talking and boost their understanding of lessons, a topic or a particular subject. The second text I particularly liked was Teach Like a Pirate by Dave Burgess. His work also links to flow without actually using the word, as well as immersion in lessons. The concept of being a pirate, so passion, immersion, rapport, ask and analyse, transformation and enthusiasm, is aimed at how the teacher should behave in the lessons to get students engaged. Essentially, it all leads back to us. Burgess suggests that we concentrate a lot of our time on content and technique to deliver. However, teachers should also focus on the presentation of their materials in class. When deciding how to go about this project, I looked for something that I could do in each year group, either to introduce something new or to adapt something which I already did. In Year 9 Health and Social Care, we usually dive straight into the course. However, this year I have run the course slightly differently, doing project work as an introduction, as well as some practical tasks to learn key information. Many students struggle with topics, mostly because they haven't studied them before, not because they don't know what they are. Students study topics such as drugs, mental health and body positivity. They're things that they know about, but I adapted them to link to how they would learn and remember. We made drug and alcohol awareness campaign, as well as a project on natural beauty and positive body image. We also used Love Island more than once to explain some of these topics. The final project we did was for Step into the NHS, and we had to create a job description and a job advert for any of the jobs that they'd researched on the NHS website. Students were allowed to work up to groups of 4 to complete the project. There were a wide variety of projects, which included a cardboard ambulance for a paramedic, a rap song with a video to advertise being a midwife, animations, cardboard human bodies, and PowerPoints to show the role of IT consultants. Some of these were also entered in to step into the NHS national competition, and the students received recognition from the NHS for their hard work and impressive projects. As part of Component 1, students did various activities, including making games to demonstrate fine motor skills. This was set as a homework for both Year 9 classes. 9B were also given a game to play in the lesson to demonstrate gross motor skills, which was a similar premise to Twister in the fact that you have to put body parts directed place on a mat. Year 10s need to complete role plays to demonstrate their knowledge of care values for C2. Students have been able to write about care values, but until they write and perform a role play, it is difficult to see whether they've understood the care values and their importance. This year, due to COVID, we're unable to complete this task in school, so I've set it as a home learning task. It'll be interesting to see on July the 13th what the students can recall if they have or have not done the task. For C3 in Year 11, I've used practical tasks for students to find out about health and well-being. Students had to set up their own profile about themselves, which includes their pulse rate, blood pressure, peak flow, BMI, height, weight, and temperature. As a requirement of the exam, students need to be able to create a health plan for a fictional person using the exam case study. It has really helped students to understand the concepts by physically creating their health plan. Otherwise, if they have to talk about blood pressure, they may know that there are two numbers, the systolic and diastolic pressure, but this would help them to understand what they are and why they need them. They were also able to compare themselves to an average blood pressure for their age group, and they can comment on why it may or may not be the same. In Year 9, the students who completed the fine motor skills homework were able to describe fine motor skills at the end of the unit test. Other students who did not complete the work did struggle. 9B also performed slightly better on the assessment of gross motor skills question if they had taken part in the game. I made a note of which students did and didn't take part. Students who took part in projects and took them seriously were able to be rewarded with higher marks during the end of unit test, as they were able to recall information they had taken part in. Delivery of lessons and turning the learning back onto students is how I have carried out my research. I have looked at practical tasks that students can do throughout the health and social care course, which will engage and immerse them using flow, but I'm also conscious that I've tried to be a pirate. Lessons were much more fun doing practical tasks, and by doing these tasks, students have been able to learn more and apply it in a variety of situations. It was much more fun to teach in this way, and it was applicable to the curriculum. I will continue using these theories to teach, as practical tasks clearly have value in my lessons. Thank you.